It's been another week in the madhouse. France is on fire. Greta Thunberg has travelled to a war zone to discuss the weather. Cancer is skyrocketing among young people, but no one seems to want to address the elephant that sat on the coffee table. The anti-capitalist lefties, they're cheering on big banksters. London, pollution, that's racist apparently. And the climate doesn't like the alphabet community. Yes, you heard that correctly. According to Extinction Rebellion, the LGBTQIA+ community is at higher risk of the catastrophic effects of climate change. They don't explain the science behind that statement, but I'm sure it's robust. As robust as the claim that ITV News just picked a random mother off the street when they used a biological male climate change activist in a dress to talk about how rising water bills were affecting mothers like them. Now, ITV got pelters and the individual in question got pelters, which I'm not a huge fan of. I do try and avoid the internet pile-on. After all, there is a human behind the delusional persona, a human in need of help and support. But then they posted a picture of themselves breastfeeding their baby, and any sympathy for them went straight out the window. You can't naturally breastfeed the child because you aren't an adult female. The only way you're lactating is by pumping yourself full of medication with numerous and varying side effects that can then be passed on to the baby, some of which can cause the child to have an irregular heartbeat. So I ask, what's the purpose of it? For whose gratification? Because it certainly isn't the child's. And so what you have is a biological male validating their narcissism by using their nipple as a glorified pacifier with potentially damaging side effects and then posting it on the internet. I'm not sure who concerns me more, the mother or the people defending the insanity. These people are erasing women and they're trolling them in the process. A UK-based cervical cancer trust has proposed calling a vagina a bonus hole to be more inclusive. But inclusive to who? It's the normalization of insanity, pure and simple. And if you appease it, accept it even, it will take you with it. Just like the ludicrous COVID rules, walking into a restaurant with a mask on, sitting down, taking it off, breathing in the air for hours, all chatting, laughing with each other before putting it on to walk out again. That was insanity. And everyone that did it became insane in the process. And that's the plan. Women with penises, bonus holes and bigoted weather are just the latest round in the game of how much insanity will the public accept before they push back. There is a very real attempt to drag society into the depths. And what's more tragic than some people not seeing it is those that are championing it. They claim they're being loving and supportive, inclusive. People should be able to be who they are and we should support them in that endeavour. Unless you disagree with me on my particular worldview, because in that case, I'd be more than happy just to call you a Nazi and have you deleted from society, sacked from your employment, or even rejected from being able to use a bank account. And so we've gone from fighting for homeless people to be able to access bank accounts, because otherwise they're essentially non-personed, to cheering on the banksters when they remove the ability to transact from people we disagree with. People are looking for excuses and loopholes to explain away Nigel Farage's bank account deletion as somehow acceptable. It's no big deal. It's simply a T's and C's issue. But we all know they've been doing it for years. Just look at the truckers in Canada. Excusing it is so short-sighted. First They Came For by Martin Niemöller. That springs to mind because no one aligns with the establishment 100% of the time. A lot of people celebrating this proudly state that they stand with Palestine. But I had payment gateways frozen and even deleted for raising money for Palestinian charities in the past. Facebook deleted my fundraiser for the same cause. This affects everyone in the end. The fake liberals cheering on the banks at the moment are safe because their views align, but they won't always. When the establishment accepted narrative shifts to a place the fake liberals don't agree with, they might just say something on socials that leads to their deletion, their removal from society, and their ability to transact. And who'll be left to speak up from when that happens? Be careful what you wish for, because you might just get a fistful. How did this interview with Mariana Spring come about?
Well, she pestered us. At first, I thought no, obviously, because all they're going to do is smear us. That's the only point of their contact. It's the disinformation specialist. And like I say, she pestered us, so I thought, well, they're going to do it anyway. So why not see how we can obviously benefit, how more people can come across the truth, because they're going to, and they did completely go one way, a ridiculous, over the top lies and disinformation themselves, obviously. And it's just going to have the Streisand effect. where people are going to say, okay, well, how bad is this? Is it illegal? And they come and look, and we've had plenty of emails telling us that, thanks to Mariana Spring, they've now subscribed, or they're going to order for next month and pass them around to their friends and neighbours, etc., etc. Because at the end of the day, we're in an information war, and any opportunity really that we can use to spread information rather than disinformation, spread the truth to people and what's really going on, what governments and those that control them are actually up to, and what they have planned for the future. So they're obviously going to come after us and smear us, but at the end of the day, if we can do it right, her MO is to be really nice, and she's a nice young reporter, earnest in investigation. Ian Davis has done an absolutely brilliant takedown or rebuttal of what she came out with from the interview. It's very, very well worth reading from on Off Guardian. So we're kind of glad. It's I spent most of yesterday putting out 300 new subscribers from last month, which is I'm pretty sure a record. So unfortunately I can't sue. She has defamed us, obviously, because we're not anti-Semitic, Holocaust deniers, right-wing extremists, all the buzzwords that they want to use for those that oppose the government. We're anti-establishment. We know they're up to no good. We know we're being lied to. And we want to do something about it and tell other people, we're going about it in a non-violent, peaceful way. They're obviously, their goal is to smear us as the opposite.
What's the reasoning behind the school taking kids' fingerprints?
So they often at secondary school have a policy where they take the fingerprints so that children can access food in the dinner hall instead of using money, and that's to keep them safe.
Is this to keep them safe in terms of having school bullies nick their pocket money or lunch money, or is it kind of COVID related? I'm wondering how many of those things spill over from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of things have since COVID have stuck around, but the biometrics has been in place prior to COVID. That's been in place for a good, I would say, maybe 8-9 years in York, where I am. Wow,
I had no idea about that. So, in terms of your daughter's fingerprints then, one, they've taken them unlawfully, but where are they stored? Because I'm assuming each school doesn't have the capabilities to be able to do that. So it's probably going to someone like Capita or a company like that are outside of the school.
Yeah, and external providers are taking care of all that incredibly sensitive personal data and are entrusted to look after that data for that child's the rest of their life.
Well, I am not privy to any firsthand information or any insider information about that. I do know that, he spoke publicly about being poisoned. I do know he was in the hospital and in the intensive care unit last fall with some pretty serious complications. I also know that he had had some cardiac issues since that time. And all I can estimate or guesstimate, actually, as a fellow physician, is that something in that poisoning, whatever happened to him, damaged his heart, because his death was very sudden. I mean, it was literally, he just dropped over dead. And there's only a few things in medicine that can cause that. Pulmonary embolism, heart attack, stroke, ruptured aortic aneurysm. There's only a few things that can cause somebody who's standing there just to literally drop over dead. So I don't know which of those. I've heard from various people who are closer to the situation than I am that it was a heart attack issue. But and I've said that perhaps whatever that poisoning was that happened to him back last fall damaged his heart and subsequently ended up in his demise, which is a huge loss for the functional medicine community, for the autism community, for the cancer community, and just for all of us who've known the power of Rashid and the power. He's a voice to be reckoned with, and he's greatly missed. So we still have to stay in the game, stay engaged in the game. And that's another important thing to keep people going. I just created a presentation I'm going to be doing at the Red Pill Conference and at some other conferences this fall. It's called The 10 Reasons to Stay in the Game, because people are checking out. They're like, no, I don't have to wear a mask. I can do whatever I want. I can book a holiday. I can go to the restaurants. It's over. I'm glad that's behind me. I don't have to think about it again. But where we are right now globally is just a little short reprieve before the next round is going to come. And if people have completely checked out and not mentally, emotionally, and spiritually decided that they have to stay in this fight because this is a war and it's not over. And where we are right now, it's just like a summer break. But the powers that be are not taking any holidays. They are continuing to march forward 24/7 and planning their next diabolical assault on humanity.
That's all for this week. Thank you for tuning in. What does freedom mean to you? It's a word that people throw around constantly, but does it even exist? America, a country that requires a permit for basically everything, where feeding homeless people outside the front of your church can land you in jail, prides itself as being the land of the free. The United Kingdom and Europe in general claim to be free and open democracies, but they regularly ban people who've committed no crimes from their shores for saying words the establishment doesn't like. They stop film premieres and speaking conferences if the content goes against the state narrative. That's not freedom. So why do so many people go along with the charade? And even more importantly, why do people agree with the state's ability to block discourse? Surely freedom is applied to everyone, or is no freedom. So I wonder, what does freedom look like to you? Now, I don't expect an answer. I'm just throwing it out there in the bid to get some of you asking yourself that question, because we all say we're fighting for it, but what exactly is it we're fighting for? Last week, we spoke to Whom By Fire, a band cancelled from a music festival for a Facebook comment saying that a book written by a paedophile shouldn't be being read to children at the local library. They make a good point there, and they should have the freedom to make it, even if it offends some. Although if you're offended by a comment denouncing a paedophile, you should probably be asking yourself some serious questions anyway. With their new track, Freedom, Whom By Fire will be playing us out. Have a great weekend, everyone. Goodbye.
Heard you sing freedom and it moved me. The chains that cannot bind you, the flames that can't consume. I'm sure you would storm the cage that is your house, burn it to the ground. With love divine, surely would lead you to the ground. Change